so this place is similar to the British Virgin Islands.
I'm trying to download now the manual for the gearbox.
Wow, look at that.
Subscribe to the channel and follow as we sail this old girl around the world.
As we continue our journey through Indonesia and across the Java Sea towards Malaysia, we're departed the Karimunjawa Islands trying to sail northwest to the island of Belitung. Nearing the equator in the changing season, we were plagued with heavy squalls, no wind, and we had little diesel left to motor. To top it all off, we snapped our headsail halyard, and after 4 days and 200 nautical miles, were forced to return to Karimunjawa. We filled our tanks with diesel and fixed the halyard, then headed back to sea and finally had Belitung in our sights. We traversed through the busy Jalasa Strait, through the dark upwind and against an opposing current. With only 20 nautical miles to go, the wind dropped out and our gearbox began slipping, leaving us engineless as we drifted back towards the shipping lane. It then took us 24 hours to travel the final 20 miles, but finally we safely negotiated the difficult entrance into our anchorage. Happy but exhausted to finally arrive to Belitung, we rested up before trying to find out how and where to fix our broken gearbox. The landscape of Belitung is simply stunning. We were able to relax a little as we realised that this little slice of paradise is not a bad place to be stuck. Come to land in hunt of a guy that can help me fix the gearbox. So we've rocked up at the wrong place, but then the rain comes, so we've had to sit down and wait. So we're just patiently waiting before we got to go find a fella.
We got caught in the rain. It's so wet outside.
Who parked Nandji over here?
we ran out of fuel and had to hold the tank up and pump it through, and it was the last 200 meters was real touch and go. Yeah, it was not really successful. The mechanic that we are after, he's actually in Java, so we're going to meet someone else tomorrow that might have another mechanic for us, so fingers crossed. We have found a workshop where we might be able to do it ourselves, but we would really like a mechanic to do it.
Yeah, I've never pulled a gearbox apart before. There's always a first for everything, I suppose, but... So that's how my fiberglass lagging ended up. Apart from putting glass particles everywhere, making the bed itchy, it did its job in keeping the heat off of everything else, and we didn't melt the wires, so it did good. But I'll cut all that off and we'll get rid of that, and I'll try to find lagging here as well. There's a population of 250,000 people on this island, so it's actually a lot bigger than I thought. There's 80,000 people in the city, so that's pretty big. I should be able to find quite a bit here. So I have to try to get this gearbox out. But to break the coupling, you need to get the 4 bolts on the shaft side. Need to take them off to then slide that back to then get at the bolts that are attached to the rubber flange between the coupling for the vibration, to get at those bolt heads to be able to hold them so I can crack the nuts on the gearbox side. So it's kind of a process to work your way through, but the 4 bolts that are at the end of the shaft on that end of the coupling, they're all a bit stripped and they're a bit rusty. I don't have any lubrication spray, which doesn't really help. So I'm trying to skip that step. I'm just leaving that attached and bolted to the rubber flange, but it means I can't get at the bolt heads to hold on top of them to then crack the nuts on the back. So I'm just trying to come up with creative ways to be able to hold that head. I've got 3 out of 4, but this last one is causing me grief. So I've managed to break that coupling, and now I've dragged the shaft back off the gearbox, and I was hoping I could just unbolt the gearbox off the back of the engine there and pull it out, but I reckon all this other kerfuffle is going to be on the way, so I'm going to have to pull out maybe not take out the exhaust, but at least take out the frame and everything around it. Oh, there she is. She's out.
How long did that take?
Oh, probably nearly 2 hours, I suppose. Just a couple of stubborn bolts, you know.
After a long morning of just trying to get the gearbox out, we finally have it out and we're just taking it to a workshop today to quickly see if we can fix it.
First, you confirm that one.
Yeah, reverse is down.
Yeah.
That's reverse.
Alright.
So that's solid.
Yeah.
Neutral. We're just waiting for the mechanic to rock up so we can have a good chat, go through everything again. But I think we're on to a winner. If you're swapping over forwards and reverse, but it's going to be the same ratio.
Yeah.
And so the synchromass may be different, but that just means they have to keep more revs on it to make the prop spin faster.
Happy
Should be
days.
right. Should be right.
Yeah.
Harun, the man who's been helping us out, he's taken the gearbox with a couple of his mechanics. One's going away for 4 days and the other one said he couldn't undo it. I think he's just scared to actually crack it and get in there, which is fair enough. So if he's scared to do it, it means he hasn't touched one before, so I don't really want that anyway. I'm trying to download now the manual for the gearbox and me and Harun are going to pull it apart ourselves and we'll have a look.
So has Harun done this before?
No, but he's quite a smart man. But he's played with other gearboxes before, so, and he's naming everything as we're going through, so he knows a lot more about it than I do.
Okay.
With the assistance of a couple of Harun's workers, who honestly did most of the work, me as project manager and overseer with the manual diagrams and instructions, combined with the brain power and skills of Harun, the workers got busy in stripping the housing off the gearbox to investigate further. Since forwards gear was slipping, the initial plan A was to change the reverse clutch plates with the forward plates, meaning we would have forwards but no reverse. Moving the bearing shield.
We're hoping the gearbox doesn't join this pile.
With the housing cracked open, at first I was a little overwhelmed, but after thinking, reading the manual and looking at the insides of the gearbox, it all kind of made sense as there are two main shafts where all the components are fixed to. Logic says as long as they come off in order and are put back in order, we should be okay.
59, I would say.
Yeah, and that totals to 1 mil, was that
That one is in total is 0.8.
It's 0.8.
Yeah, 0.8. But
We had a bit more of a brainwave rather than taking everything off and replacing the clutch shims and transferring them over. We think maybe we could shim it out. We put shims on there to reduce that tolerance so that there's going to be less space for it to wiggle. Maybe we can pull that in tighter so then the clutch plates will engage once they have. So we're going to see if we can't get a bigger shim and we'll replace this one and then we can use these shims for this here. So that should work. In theory, that should work as long as we put enough shims in to take up that play that's in there at the moment. Not being able to find or make new shims, this plan went out the window and it was back to plan A. With a little Indo ingenuity, slowly the components came sliding off the main gearbox shaft. We've got it out now, we're onto the shaft as we're pulling bits out. So these here are like the synchromass clutch plates, the clutch plates. So this here is what's worn. So when you're in neutral, there's 4 of these along the shaft. When it's in neutral, they're all loose. And when you click it into gear, they all go tight. Like that tightens up and that's what engages the gear and that's what makes it spinning. But so we're tightening up, but these here are slipping. So you can see here that this one's very worn.
Yep.
So it's very smooth, so it's very worn. The tolerance of these is very little, you know, it's not much at all. What game plan is, I've learnt a bit from people through asking questions to other yachties, and this is what they've done as well. So the game plan is, if we can't find these, because these are a little bit smaller than what they have on a scooter, so we've got a fella running around the market trying to find one to match it, to see if you can find ones that match, but Harun seems to think these are much smaller than a scooter or a motorbike. So if we can't find any, the game plan is to take all this off, take everything off the shaft, and we'll put these worn ones in the reverse side. We'll take the good ones from the reverse side and put them on the forward clutch.
Yeah. So we won't be able to reverse?
So we won't be able to reverse, but we'll be able to go forwards. What do you reckon about all this?
Sounds good to me. I normally follow along pretty well with this sort of stuff, but Gearboxes has me. Just pulled off the reverse.
Successfully removing and swapping the reverse clutch plates with the forward clutch, we utilised that previously mentioned logic and reassembled the main gearbox shaft.
So they chose this bolt because it's a softer metal than our gearbox, so the bolt will get damaged, not the gearbox in the back.
Convinced the problem should now be in reverse, the gearbox housing was replaced and everything should be fixed. What do you found?
I found my spirit machine. If I was a machine, I'd be this guy.
Tips today!
Oh my god, the smile says it all, right?
We just did a resistance test on when we first did it and it was slipping. We did the same test as then. After we've swapped it all around, there's no slip there, baby. She's solid and reverse is still good as well, so we should be good, eh? It might have just been a bit of alignments of stuff and it just needed to be pulled out and realigned a bit. Take it all apart, put it together again, then it's fixed.
Yeah,
Sweet.
stoked.
With a potentially fixed gearbox safely strapped into the back seat, we did the provisioning on our journey back to Nandji, ready to leave again.
There were lots of cockroaches in the supermarket today, so I'm just going through and checking everything, checking insides of plastics. I'm going to remove all the cardboard and then wash anything with like glue on the sides because they lay their eggs in it. Anything with like little glued down tabs, I'm just putting in water. I'm going to soak it in there in case there's any eggs. Just don't want any bugs on my boat, you know?
We got it back in. Now the boss is upstairs, we'll just click it into gear. There she runs. We'll give it some curry. Yeah, curry! Yep! Reverse! Reverse works too!
With Nandji healthy once again, finally we could check out the island of Belitung. We had heard about a miniature monkey local to the area and thought we need to have a look. When the Dutch came here, they mined this island for tin and they basically turned the whole island over. So not a lot of things grow here anymore, but the main industries that are working really well is pepper and palm oil. So this is actually a pepper plantation that I'm in. This is it here. And from these they make black, white and red pepper. Palm oil plantations are generally associated with the deforestation of natural forests in many countries. Because of the destruction from previous mining, the soil is unfertile and most fruit and veg needs to be imported. However, the palm oil tree thrives in the sandy soil and provides the island with one of its main economy sources. We found the joint down a bit of a dirt road, but we're here to see the tarsius. It's like the smallest monkey.
There you go. What can you get?
I don't know how we're going to find these little monkeys. Where are they? Look at him! Hello!
Look at his goggly eyes.
Wow, look at who he is! Hello! Tarsiers' eyes are so big they can't rotate them. So to make up for it, their neck can rotate a creepy full 180 degrees. Oh!
That is the best thing I've seen in a long time. Oh, there you go. Oh, How's his claw? Is that spirit fingers?
It's like a frog.
A hand, isn't it? It's a hand.
Yeah.
It's a full-on hand. Get it, buddy. Oh, yes.
Tarsius is the only primate animal to communicate using ultrasound. So a baby could be screaming its head off right now and we wouldn't be able to hear it. It's such a high frequency that we're unable to hear it.
That is awesome.
Wow, look at these beautiful granite boulders. I haven't seen these since we've been back home in Australia. They say this place is similar to the British Virgin Islands. So I've never been there before. If you have, what do you reckon? We got white sandy beaches, beautiful turquoise water. There's coral and there's fish around as well. And but yeah, these boulders really make it quite remarkable. Happy Nandji was fixed and feeling rejuvenated after a longer than planned break at Belitung. We soaked up the island life and prepared ourselves for the next 300 nautical mile passage, which would take us across the equator and into the northern hemisphere.
Next week on Sailing Nandji.
When the weather changes, we have big squalls of 40 to 50 knots. It's in a little bit of a rush this afternoon. We're not as prepared as what we normally are.
Fishing line out again, see if I can catch anything else other than plastic.
The metal block just smacked me straight in the head.
A lot of people are scared of pirates in Indonesian waters.
Hove to, we didn't want to lose any ground that we'd made, and we just had this squall kick up. It's got white caps, it's got waves coming at me.
Yeah, it's pretty rowdy. We got that main down just in time. So of course all of that happens in the wee hours. It would have been probably 4 in the morning when that smoke was bellowing out of that. Welcome to land.
How beautiful is this place?